So, welcome back to another Inktober. Today is Inktober 19, and today is Arctic, and I really couldn't think of much except for a polar bear floating on an ice. Floe, apparently, is a floating piece of ice, so I was just going to make him like a little icy island, and him just standing there by himself, and I couldn't remember. I'm not going to be able to draw a polar bear without a reference, because I could, I guess, but I didn't want to. I wanted to try to do him some justice. So there's a polar bear. I got a. So what am I looking for? Reference. I have a reference for polar bear. So anyway, joking aside, you could just put a couple of dots in a nose and call it a day, right? But it's not joking aside. No, I'm gonna try to put him on an ice floe, surround him with dark patches of water, maybe, and we'll see what happens. So that's enough yapping. Let's get into it. Okay, so today I'm going to be drawing the polar bear. I'm going to put him on the thing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'll put him on the ice thing. This guy is in the middle of the tundra. He's got nothing around him. But I think I'm just gonna make him like a little float, right? So let me draw the polar bear guy first, and then I'm gonna go for the rest of him. So let's do his head. His head is over here in this region. All right, that's his big old fat head. That's just bottom of his chin. And these guys are huge, by the way. I didn't realize how big they really were until recently. Actually, I knew they were big, but I didn't know they were as big as there's something we were watching, and they showed like the reference of like how large their paw is compared to a human print or something like that, and they were massive. I'm like, oh, well, it's a good thing I don't live in the Arctic, because I'd be dead. He would eat me. Faux show. That would be his dinner. I mean, it's only fair we eat all their fish. They could eat us, right? And then they get the big old mass over his shoulder here, and then a big old butt. And there's his 40-foot. They have these huge feet. Like, I mean, I don't even know. They're monstrous. They're cute, but they're freaking huge. Cute, but they'll probably kill you. I mean, let's be real. They're still bears. Giving them like Snuffleupagus feet for some reason. Whatever. I'm new. Don't pick on me. I'm new at drawing. My wife laughed at me. I don't know why she's laughing. I'm very, very new. I just started yesterday. Hey, let me tell my lies, okay? Let me tell my lies. Just this big paw for some reason. I don't know. I'm drawing kind of cartoony. I'm not trying to. It is what it is. And he's kind of like, this is the way he is standing, basically. This massive kind of pointed claws here. More to dig the ice with, I suppose. And eat the humans. No, they don't eat humans much. Don't be in their hometown, bro. Like, why are you there? You ain't supposed to be in his neighborhood. What are you doing? This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Sorry. Apologizing to my wife. She has to deal with me. He has all the feats. And then he has the big kind of comes up into here. And this is foot back here. This kind of comes down this way. And this is what I can see what he's doing. But he's in snowmelt. So I'm going to have him like this. And then, yeah, this part of this kind of tuft of fur kind of comes up in this way. So let's just assume that he's on an ice thing. I'm going to make him as ice thing. And I mean, it's really just like whatever, right? But I think what I'm going to do is just kind of wing it myself. I'm going to just give him like before I finish all his deets, a big old foot. He's kind of buried in snow here. So he's on this little ice float thing. They call it a floe. I say they, I'm no marine biologist. Just running with my little crevices I just randomly made. He's going to be floating for no real reason other than because I can make him float. Okay. So he's floating around in the cold water. That's going to maybe like making this all kind of dark behind him. Well, I don't know. Maybe blue. Yeah. Ocean blue. I guess I should give him details for his face, huh? So his schnauzer comes down here. They have very similar features to a wolf, actually, in terms of how their snout looks. So I actually drew a long while back. I drew a wolf, actually, and somebody thought it was a bear. I was like, oh, because I can see that. I was like, he kind of does look like a bear. So then I just pointed his ears a little more than people could tell. It's not a wolf. I mean, it's not a bear. Right. See, this is why I like to use the pencil, because I would be making all the mistakes. I made the schnauzer too big. I don't know what I'm doing. Why I'm doing the crazy accent. Let's see. Let's sleep enough, I guess. Kind of have that similar, how they have like that permanent smile, like a cat almost. It's a little better. This is just a rough drawing. Anyway, I'm going to go back and ink. Of course, has this jawline that comes down here. Has a big old fat nose right here. I think what it is about them too is that they have these really pretty, sweet looking eyes, and they look kind of like innocent almost, I guess. Is it not? Okay. Him's is still a polar bear. He'll still eat you. He'll make you dinner. And then they're very, like I said, they're very similar to wolves. They have this big old head, and then their necks are huge, like a wolf's almost, and it comes way out. Just saying, you see this guy in the wild, you don't go walk up to him and pet him, just run away. He's gonna catch you, but just try anyway. I don't know what you'd be doing in the wild with a bear like this, though. You deserve to get ate if you're out here in the wilderness with them and thinking you're safe. It's your fault. I'm just joshing. I'm kidding. I don't think anybody deserves to get ate. just being stupid. So there's a lot of like shading in his fur and stuff, but I'm just gonna make an implication here so that I know where the sun is coming from on this picture anyway. Kind of comes from over that way. Hey, he's pretty cool actually. I like him. So they're very similar to wolves, like I said. They just have a very similar look to the structure of their face. That dog nose, you know, where it kind of comes down a little bit like this. And then of course they have that tuft of fur and those massive necks of theirs. He kind of looks like a polar bear to me. I'm doing this really fast too. I'm trying to keep myself from. I usually draw really quickly, and I'm trying to keep myself doing that. So see, there we go. He's done more or less. I did want to do like the black here to really emphasize those and round him off a little more, but that's okay. That works. And he's sitting on his little ice flow thing. He's like, somebody help me. I don't know where I'm going. So I think I'm just going to leave him like that. And then this is just for reference. I might use that ink wash again. It's a lot of fun. Otherwise, he's just chilling on this Floe, F-L-O-E. Him's is all lonesome. He's like, he looks concerned too. He's like, how do I get off of here? Now he knows that he can just float along. If he has to, he can get in the water and swim. He's just chilling. He's just being a bear. So this leg is quite a bit shaded. I made a polar bear. Yeah, you know, Mr. Alex Makes Awesome Art, I believe is his channel name. If you haven't, if anybody's watching this and you get to this part, you should go check him out. He's really good. He's got like a old school graffiti comic style, really beautiful ink work. And there's another artist. I'm terrible at remembering channel names. I'll remember their actual names and then I'll forget what their channel name is. I wanted to say it was, I say that, but I can't remember his channel name. So you know what? I'll just look it up real quick while I'm in here. Okay, that's what I was going to say. Isaac. It's Ike. IKE-IYKIZ design, and I'll put those both up on the screen. They both have very different styles of ink, which is really cool. Like Ike's is very traditional looking in a sense of like it's very graphic illustration styled inking. They're both masters. There's no other way around it. They're both really good. It's just you got to go check them both out. They're both really good. But the reason I was mentioning that is that Alex actually had his intro video for Inktober, and he was saying that he wanted to get better at certain things. And I guess when I was approaching this, I wasn't thinking like that. I was just thinking like I just want to experiment and try stuff, kind of force myself to do something I'm not used to doing, including using this and also doing ink wash, which is also why I thought about doing it. I actually really like doing the ink wash. I noticed it's really fun. It's a lot like painting. It goes down much faster, but it's translucent, so you don't lose your ink lines and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Very similar to using like alcohol markers, but stretched way out. And drawing things I probably wouldn't. I mean, I would draw an animal, but like people shaking hands and stuff, I would not necessarily draw that on my own. Some of the other prompts that we did, I just wouldn't probably do on my own. So anywho, I guess it is kind of helping me get even faster with certain things. Like I try to approach it with like, what is the fastest way to get this idea down? And I was gonna say Alex, I just saw he thumbnails or whatever. Like he didn't do that, I guess, the year before, but he's doing it this year, where he thumbnailed and getting his ideas down, and then he tightened those up so that when he actually does the ink straight, because he doesn't pencil, he just goes straight. And so does I always draw, like he said, in a comic you draw pencil is pretty traditional. He had said that in his video before I even mentioned that to him, and because he was a comic artist before, I guess. Anyway, he was like, I just got to the point where I was so busy doing my comics that I was just drawing with just pencil and then like slamming that into contrast to make it look like it was inked. And then he was like, let's just screw it. Let's go straight ink and skip the pencil process. And then he got used to doing that. So I've never been one to go straight to ink unless that's the only option I have. But I always like to do the drawing first because I like to be really loose and stuff. And I get that from learning from people like Aaron Blaze and like Disney artists and stuff, and comic artists, or just comic artists as well, but also like cartoonists and stuff. They'll go really loose and wide, and then they break it down, and then they add their ink and their color and all that stuff. So I kind of got used to that process. I'm impressed that the two of them can go straight to ink. It's wild. But anyway, so I'm gonna ink this guy up, and then let's see where I'm at. Now I got Mr. Polar Bear here. I'm not going to do anything too crazy with the background, I don't think. I might do some blues in here. It's Arctic. I will say, though, that blue that I used, this blue, man, it made a mess the last time I used it. I went to shake the pigment around, and it just went all over the place. But not in here. It was in the garage, thankfully. Let's see here. I mean, that's the benefit to using pre-filled pens, I suppose. You don't have to worry about making a mess. But at the same time, I'm actually really liking these traditional pens. If I keep doing this on Bristol and stuff, I actually might get a nicer pen nib, because these are really inexpensive. Nothing wrong with them. I just might try something else, just try something else. But the sake of InkTober. I really do like the Japanese nib for it has a little bit more variety. The spoon nib seems to have like that striation in it, like it's giving you two separate lines. At least that's what it's doing for me. So when I'm pushing down, it's giving me, you can actually see it on my finger. I don't know if you can see that. You can see that it's pushing two separate lines when you're pushing down on the nib. And then the same, what's funny is that the Japanese one, this is the school nib, I believe. See, it has similar thing. It has the two lines to it. This one. Yeah, see, I didn't even, if you compare it to that, that's more of a straight line. It does have the two lines, but it seems, I don't know, it doesn't seem to show up as easily. So I'm going to go ahead and use that again for this guy. Reservoir nib, I guess, is really good for inking a lot, like I said, and spoon nib, it just has a different texture to it. I don't hate it. And the mapping nib is super, super fine if you need crazy controlled, super, super thin. I mean, they're really tiny. Tinier than the 0.05 that I have actually on, I believe, the Staedtler that I have. Nonetheless, it was really cool if you want, like, down in here, see here his eyes, right? If I want to keep that white in his eyes, it would actually be better to use the pen nib for the, let me do that actually, watch. I'll make my point. I've gotten used to these now, so that's kind of cool. I did learn, like I said, I learned to use this and to use the brush, which I would not have used this without, I mean, of course I've used a brush, but like I wouldn't use it for ink without InkTober. So this has been a really fun challenge thus far. Let me see if I can get this in here. I had to learn a lot of stuff all at once. Why not? Challenge yourself. Do it. All right. So this was making a damn mess. So I'm going to just try to, if it makes a mess, I don't know what else I'm going to do. All right. So this guy, I'm just going to use the blue this time because I haven't really used a lot of this. Let's see how fine that detail is on that. It's also incredibly precise. Like if you need really, really good control, it's sharp and it digs in really, really well. Like if you want that, see, it brings his life to his eyes like immediately for me. Sorry, I got to get in a little bit. Here we go. They do have pupils, by the way. I could have drawn that in, but that's okay. See, look how intense he looks. I might just use this mapping nib. You know what? Screw it. Really, really intense fur texture with this. I see why people, like I said this before, but I see why people swear by these pens, man. Not specifically this brand, but just the old school ink nibs, you know, this dip pen situation. That's what I'm trying to be saying. This does feel a lot more delicate, even though it's funny because when it's smaller, you would think to some regard, you're like, well, it should be stronger, but it's the same length as the other one, so it's a little flimsier. You know, a lot of times with something smaller and shorter, it's a little bit more sturdy, but this is not the case. So you just got to be a little bit more delicate with it, but it's cool. I really love this sapphire blue. I mean, it's funny because you think like, well, you could just get a big pen and get a blue, right? It's a different kind of tone. Like it's a different shade, in my opinion. You know, it's just my opinion. This has a different feel to it. It's really intensely blue. Oops, let me not spill that. I'm not paying any attention to what I'm doing. It's just a really rich blue. It is like, I guess it's sapphire blue. You know, like the jewel. Sorry, my cat is out here screaming. And I tried to mix this up as best as I can. It's just like our cat gets like anxious if he's out there by himself for too long. That's fine. It's all good. He's gonna eat him anyway. So our one cat stays in our room with us, and our other cat likes to go around like outside and stuff like that. And he runs all over the place. And anyway, he gets kind of anxious if he's out there by himself for too long. Then he starts to complain. And he comes in here to eat, even though there's food out there that he eats. And I don't know. He's crazy. He gets to be like Velcro kitty sometimes. Comes in here, doesn't want to be left alone, but he can't be bothered for the rest of the time that he wants to be outside. He's like, he also kind of wants you to go out there with him, I think. I'm like, I can't sit outside all day, bro. I love you, but I can't do it. Got stuff to do, man. That's pretty cool. Oh, you know what? I realized I didn't give him his little mustache that they got going on, you know? They get like this dark portion around their mouth, much like a wolf, actually. As I said, there he is. I have him back on my screen. Cool thing about doing these guys too is like when you do their fur, you can be a little scratchy. And the guys at Disney do it a little differently than I do, but they kind of learn to do it a specific way because you learn to do that, you know, you need consistency in characters and style and stuff. So very Disney-esque look to it. I just kind of do it like a hot mess, but it works for me. And that is all that matters. And his back leg comes down like right. Well, that's his front leg comes around this way. Back foot. It's coming to life, I say. Coming to life. He's going to eat ya. There we go. Their fur kind of tags behind the back of their ear like that because, you know, it sticks out. Something like that. Give him some shading back here. Some texture anyway to his claws. I don't know. I work differently, I guess, than most people do. I kind of just bounce around a lot. It's the ADHD in me, I guess. And so I don't work the shape. Like a lot of people like to work in steps very like methodically. Like, well, I do this first and then do that. I'm like, I can't do that. I mean, I could, but it takes the liberty out of it for me. The whole point of drawing for me is to be creative. And if I'm forcing myself into a box all the time, it doesn't feel very creative. So I try not to. Just trying to let my brain flow. And I also, like I said, when I'm doing this by myself, I don't say a word. I'm just running my mouth to y'all for anybody who's willing to listen or wants to listen. You can always say mute, I suppose. Put the video on speed, beat it up, See, look how pretty that blue is, man. Unfortunately, I can't get it to really mix as well as it was, because every time I'm afraid to shake it. It has some... Let me try to do it again. All right, if this makes a mess, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry like a baby. I'm shaking it very gently. I'm trying. I don't want to mess it. No mess. I think sometimes I spilt the... That's funny. I spilt the ink just from shaking the bottle too much. You know what's really helpful, I think, to learn to be really loose is to just do impressionist style painting. And I know I've mentioned that before, but it really does help for me. It's trying to force yourself to just sort of see the light for what's in the picture, and don't try to be so perfect about it. And then if you do it right, and by that I just mean to relax and just go for it, you'll end up with something I think is more interesting than just copying exactly what you see. But that is just my opinion. What the hell do I know? Yeah, this has sort of like a, I don't know if you can see this. It has sort of like a shimmer to it, and then that doesn't want to stay mixed, so it has almost a metallic look to it. It's really pretty blue. I guess that is the intent, is for it to be sort of random. I keep flirting with the idea of making a cartoon. That has nothing to do with anything, except that I'm drawing. And I really do. I keep thinking, like, should I? Shouldn't I? Maybe. Oh, that actually came out onto me. Oh, Lord. And, yeah, I keep flirting with the idea, because I love my music. It's just really hard to get it going. It's hard. I mean, I know getting a cartoon going would be difficult. Moreover, it would be hard to draw constantly. But I'm not sure if that would connect better with an audience than, say, my music would. I don't really know. I do create for the sake of creating, too, and I'll do it just to make money. But at the same time, I gotta make some kind of money, because I'm hurting right now, man. This industry is so screwed up. Software industry is dog right now. For me, I'm saying I have a lot of experience, but it's professional experience, but it's not on an enterprise level. Is solo stuff and working freelance and stuff like that, and that apparently is not enough anymore. I've worked obviously professionally, just not as a software engineer yet, not in a big team, I'm saying. And I think, yeah, I like hitting that. That's fun. I think that's part of the problem. But I also think that it's an ATS problem. It's a whatever, which the automatic, resume reviewer thing. And I just can't get ahead of it. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. I've done all the things. I mean, leak code grinding isn't exactly going to get me a job either, because that's just for the interview. And if I can't get the interview, what does it matter if I leak code or not? So I'm thinking, like, exit strategy. What else can I do? I'm doing a comic book and a little bit of interest in that, but I'm like, is that going to translate to real money? I don't know. But I thought maybe a cartoon, simply because it's a visual format that is perfect for YouTube. You can do motion comics, of course, I guess, and then I've thought about that too. And if I stop thinking of comics as reflecting real life... See, I almost spilled that. If I think of them as a medium to create a world, I could do a comic book that is cartoony, like a SpongeBob kind of thing, I suppose. I'm just trying to give them some kind of texture over here. I'm really just ranting. I don't really know what I should be doing. It sucks to have the skills and the technical ability as well, like not just the ability to code or whatever, or it's kind of like a drawing. You know how you can draw, but like, can you get a job with drawing? I don't know. I mean, what is a job really, right? Pays rent. There's a bunch of ways to do it, I suppose. Like I said, I'm just ranting. Like, don't pay too much attention to me. Just fishing for ideas, trying to figure out what I need to do, because time's just ticking away, ain't it? My mom actually said that a few times recently. It's just like, time's gonna pass anyway. Might as well do something. I'm like, when did you become a philosopher, Mom? She ain't wrong. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but you don't think about it a lot, I think. You forget about that kind of stuff. In the grand scheme of chasing the big green American dollar, I think we forget you only got so much time. Sure as hell can't buy it more. So can't buy yourself more time. Funny expression. Oh, buy my time. I'm like, what? Buy your time? What? You only got so much of it, bro. What are you gonna do with it? You're gonna waste it. What you're doing. One day, just do it. Don't be waiting. Just get on it. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be proactive. And whilst I have the abilities, it is hard without money, to start a business. So while I could do things like game development and all the wonderful things, it doesn't do much good if I don't have the money to back it. And cartooning, I feel like, doesn't require... Well, I mean, on YouTube anyway, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. If you're YouTubing it, you might be able to get away with less money because, let's just say this. If I were to make a game, it's going to require me to market it, right? And of course, you're like, well, what about just using YouTube? Well, see, the thing is, if it's a cartoon, YouTube is the platform. And so all I have to do is market just the YouTube channel. It's brilliant, isn't it? If I do that with the game, I have to market it to Steam, which also means I have to do Instagram and YouTube and this and that and the other. Now, I'm not saying you don't have to do that for your cartoon. If you make a cartoon, I'm just saying that you're one, you don't have to worry about Steam. You don't have to worry about marketing your game and fighting against thousands of other competitors that have way more money. And now I'm not saying that that's not the case for studios as well, but the difference with, and Gabby Caldera pointed this out, another artist here on YouTube, said that that the TV landscape has changed quite a bit. So, and that's true. The gaming landscape has not. It has actually gotten kind of worse for indies. And in some ways it's good, but you need a lot of marketing to make a game. And so I kind of was getting away from that. And then I'm like, okay, well, what about just doing front end work and web and stuff like that? And now it's so AI front end heavy, and sure, you could do freelancing and stuff like that, but that's not a long-term goal for me. I want to do more than just freelancing. Freelancing is okay for a little while, and I've done it for a little while. I've done it a bunch actually, and that is not my end goal. It's like you start to feel like, am I not just supposed to just not have a job again? Was that what's going on here? I'm supposed to make my own work? I don't understand. It's actually a really cool nib. I'm not way off subject for what I'm talking about, but I think I'm gonna see if I can't shade him up with it because it's kind of fun. I'm rambling. I'm just complaining. So my wife, she works her butt off with her job. She's got a business that she works a lot. And it's just, we need multiple forms of income and not just her business. I need to be making some money too. It's all that who you know business. Because I know two people that did not have degrees that got jobs, one in development and one in IT, both of which asked me to help them get through their degrees. Can you believe that? Isn't that crazy? Can you help me with this, man? Can you believe this, man? And I will say one did try to get me a job. He really did. Multiple times. He kept telling me I can move where he's at, and he helped me figure it out and whatever. And I was down for that, but then they decided that the upper management decided not to do that. And he's like, yeah, corporate's not very happy with their decision, but there's nothing that can be done about it. Can't force them to hire me, right? Give me your job or I'll shoot you. What am I gonna do? That's a stupid idea. No, really, you can't threaten somebody to give you a job. What am I supposed to do, man? I don't know. I miss the days of just be able to walk into a place and be like, hey, here's my resume. You can't do that anymore. Like, if you do that, you look like a lunatic now. Like, what? Why? Taking the human element out of it. You used to be able to just walk in, put an application in, give them your resume. Hey, is the hiring manager in? Show initiative. No, he is not. No, she is not. We will. Okay, well, when are they going to be in? Oh, such and such time. All right, cool. I'll be there then. You keep doing that until they get tired of you being in there. You really want this job, huh? Yes, I do. I would like to pay my bills. The sad thing, that's all it's about right now. I'm not even talking we always joke, my wife and I always joke about being able to go out and, not joke, but we talk about being able to go out and do things. I'm like, at this point, I would just like to be able to pay the rent, man. Like, if I could do something with this, it doesn't have to be music, doesn't have to be art, I don't care, just something, honestly, something creative would be nice. Something where I'm solving problems, maybe. My wife, her business, she only has so much room for inventory, so only so much I can do to help her before it's just overwhelming, We need the extra income. Right, Hunter? Now, if we could do it with just her business, I'd be fine with that too. I'd still have to create. That's just who I am. I'm inking him just like this because it's just fun. I don't have to do this, I suppose, but he's a lot of fun to do this with. When I was a kid, I used to do it like this, where I'd hatch like this, and I didn't realize that's what I was doing. I was just doing it because I didn't feel like coloring in all the spots, because it would get tedious to just sit there and try to make it black with a crappy pen, or blue in this case. And I, by accident, was hatching, creating patterns, and I didn't realize that's what I was doing. I just thought, I could just fill it in like this. I'm like, oh, that's a technique. Didn't know. It's starting to look pretty cool to me anyway. I don't know how y'all feel about them. So anyhow, these... Yeah, I don't know if I need to create my own IP, be that video games or music or art or whatever. I don't want to wait too long, and have nothing going on. It just sucks. I don't mean for it to be a bitch fest. I'm just saying, it's just rough, man. He's really cute. A little bit of furs in here. Cross hatching helps to give it a really dark look too, by the way. If you didn't know, now you know. Helps to change the texture up quite a bit. So yeah, thinking about a cartoon. I don't know. I don't even know what's gonna happen, but it's at least an idea. I'm thinking I might finish my comic book and then see if I can make that into animation. I did try an animatic music video to see how that would go, and that was really interesting. Had some interest, not a lot. But then again, I've only done it once for a music video. I've done other kinds of music videos where I used Unity once to make a music video, but I did it with I used Unity's camera system and some 3D models and stuff, and kind of looked like a retro, almost like a 90s style video game as a video, just something different, because I'm one person, so it's very difficult for me to just be like, let me make a really sophisticated music video. I can't do that. I know I sound like Joe Swanson. Joe Swanson. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another useless talent I have. have voice acting and impersonations and things. I can do all the, you do all the things. Babo, hey, babo. You know what I'm saying? Like, what a waste. What a waste. Why can I do that? If you don't know when you're hatching, if you spread out your little lines, it gives you lighter look. If you don't know, now you do. The closer they are, the darker it's going to look, the more dense, and the more obviously the closer to the rounded edge it's getting. You know what I'm saying? There he is. He's floating on his ice floor. Yeah. Oh, no, I think he's kind of cool. I like him. I'm usually pretty picky about my own stuff, but I like this guy. He's fun. And so with that, I'm going to sign him, quit bitching, and I'm going to get back to work. Thanks for hanging out if you did. And what is this one? This 19? I think it's 19. It's 19. Well, if it's not, it's not. Oh, well. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.